The massive starship hummed with anticipation as Captain June Park walked through its gleaming corridors. Metallic walls reflected the soft blue lighting, and the crew moved with a quiet precision that spoke of years of training and preparation. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, the vast darkness of space stretched endlessly. Earth was just a distant blue-green, barely visible among the countless stars. This mission was different from any previous human expedition. Something extraordinary was about to happen. Lieutenant Eun Kim sat at her navigation console, her fingers moving swiftly across holographic displays. She had memorized every potential scenario, every mathematical calculation that might emerge during their journey. Her eyes were focused, her breathing steady. "Systems check," Captain Park called out, his voice calm and measured. Around him, the bridge crew responded with rapid confirmations. Each station reported perfect operational status. Engines were primed. Quantum drives were synchronized. Navigation systems were locked and ready. The fleet consisted of 47 advanced vessels, each representing humanity's most ambitious technological achievement. They weren't just ships, they were living representations of human innovation, each capable of adapting and transforming in ways that would shock most alien civilizations. June remembered the years of secret development. How they had worked in underground research facilities, pushing the boundaries of known physics. How they had discovered methods of travel that defy traditional understanding of space and time. "Quantum transition sequence initiating," Eun announced, her voice cutting through the quiet tension. Something peculiar was happening. The ships weren't just preparing to travel through space, they were preparing to exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes. It was a concept so radical that even most human scientists would struggle to comprehend its implications. The fleet's computers began a complex synchronization process. Quantum entanglement protocols activated, creating invisible connections between each vessel. They would move not as separate entities, but as a unified consciousness. Captain Park closed his eyes for a moment. He understood the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. This wasn't just a mission of exploration. This was humanity's statement to the universe, a declaration that they were no longer bound by conventional limitations. Around the ships, space itself began to ripple. Subtle distortions emerged, like heat waves on a distant horizon. The normal rules of physics seemed to bend and twist, responding to the advanced technology surrounding them. "Transition in 3, 2, 1. Eun's voice was steady, professional. For a fraction of a second, the entire fleet seemed to blur. Not disappear, not explode, but simply shift. As if they were simultaneously existing and not existing, present and absent. The alien monitoring stations would later report nothing. No explosion. No radiation signature. No traditional signs of movement or destruction. Just an empty space where 47 advanced human vessels had been moments before. What the aliens couldn't understand was that the fleet hadn't been destroyed or hidden. They had transcended traditional spatial understanding. They were now navigating realities that most civilizations couldn't even conceptualize. Captain June Park allowed himself a small smile. Humanity's next great journey had begun. The ships were gone. But they were also everywhere. Quantum mechanics had just become humanity's most powerful exploration tool. And the universe would never be the same again. The Galactic Monitoring Station 7 buzzed with activity. Rows of screens flickered with complex data streams, tracking thousands of space movements across multiple star systems. Senior analyst Wu Xin sat at his primary console, his eyes scanning multiple holographic displays. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The human fleet's designated tracking zone appeared completely empty. No signals. No residual energy signatures. Nothing. Wu adjusted his monitoring systems, thinking it might be a technical glitch. He ran diagnostic checks, recalibrated sensors, and double-checked every possible communication channel. Each attempt returned the same result: absolute emptiness. "Commander," he called out, his voice slightly trembling, "we have an unusual situation with the human fleet's coordinates." Commander Lee Young approached, her cybernetic eye scanning the data rapidly. Decades of space monitoring experience had taught her to remain calm, but even she felt a strange unease. "Replay the last recorded moments," she instructed. The holographic display reconstructed the fleet's final known position. 47 advanced human vessels, perfectly aligned, seemingly preparing for a standard deep space patrol. Then, in a moment that defied all logical explanation, they simply vanished. No explosion. No weapon discharge. No interdimensional tear. Just complete disappearance. Alien communication networks began lighting up. Different species started sharing their observations, each more confused than the last. The Terran fleet's disappearance wasn't just a mystery, it was becoming a potential galactic incident. Wu continued running analysis after analysis. Mathematical models showed no predictable pattern. Quantum scanners detected zero anomalies. It was as if the entire fleet had been erased from existence. "This is impossible," Commander Young muttered, her cybernetic implant processing millions of calculations per second. Nearby communication specialists started receiving scattered reports from various monitoring stations. Some reported brief, incomprehensible signal fragments. Others detected momentary quantum fluctuations that lasted mere microseconds. The human fleet wasn't destroyed. But it certainly wasn't where it was supposed to be. Diplomatic channels across multiple star systems began heating up. Emergency meetings were called. Species that had long viewed humans with a mixture of respect and suspicion now felt something else, pure, unadulterated confusion. Wu kept replaying the last recorded moments. The ship's movements were precise. Their energy signatures stable. Then, suddenly, nothing. Complete absence. "We need more data," Commander Young declared, her voice cutting through the growing tension. Reconnaissance missions were quickly organized. Advanced scout ships from different alien civilizations were dispatched to investigate the coordinates where the human fleet had last been detected. Each mission returned with the same report: nothing unusual. No debris. No radiation. No signs of conflict or destruction. Just empty space. The mystery deepened with each passing hour. Alien scientists began proposing theories. Some suggested advanced cloaking technology. Others speculated about experimental quantum transportation. A few even whispered about potential weapons that could make entire fleets simply disappear. But deep down, everyone knew something significant had happened. Humanity had done something unprecedented. As communication networks continued buzzing with speculation, one thing became clear: the human fleet's disappearance was more than just a technical anomaly. It was a statement. A demonstration of technological capability that no other civilization could comprehend. Wushin continued monitoring his screens, knowing that somewhere, somehow, those 47 ships were still moving. Not gone. Just elsewhere. The universe had just become a much more complicated place. And humanity was leading the way. The Grand Galactic Assembly Chamber hummed with nervous energy. Representatives from dozens of alien civilizations sat in tiered seating, their various appendages and sensory organs twitching with anxiety. Diplomat Kara Ran from the Stellar Confederation stood at the central podium. Her holographic display showed the empty space where the human fleet had been detected just days earlier. The silence was more terrifying than any potential weapon. "We cannot ignore this," she announced, her translation devices converting her speech into multiple alien languages simultaneously. The human fleet's complete disappearance represents an unprecedented technological leap. Around the chamber, whispers turned into heated discussions. The Verdax delegation, known for their advanced sensor technologies, had already conducted multiple scans. Their lead scientist, a crystalline being named Prax, stepped forward. "Our most advanced tracking systems detected zero trace of destruction," Prax reported. His crystalline body shifted colors as he spoke, reflecting his internal emotional state. No weapon signature. No dimensional tear. Simply, absence. The Quantum Research Council representatives looked particularly disturbed. Humans had always been an unpredictable species, but this was beyond anything they had encountered. A technological breakthrough that defied all known scientific understanding. Some delegations began preparing defensive protocols. If humans could make an entire fleet vanish, what else might they be capable of doing? Military strategists started reviewing potential scenarios, each more paranoid than the last. Intelligence reports began circulating. Humans had been developing quantum navigation technologies at an unprecedented rate. Their research facilities were notoriously secretive. Every breakthrough seemed to come from nowhere, challenging existing scientific paradigms. "We need more information," demanded the Orion Cluster representative, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. "This cannot be left unexplained." Secret communication channels between different alien civilizations began lighting up. Espionage teams were activated. Research departments were put on high alert. The human technological mystery had become the most significant galactic concern. Some speculated about a potential superweapon. Others suggested an advanced dimensional transportation method. A few radical theories proposed that humans had discovered a way to exist simultaneously across multiple realities. The diplomatic tension was palpable. Humans had always been considered a young, somewhat unpredictable species. But this was different. This was a demonstration of technological capability that suggested they were far more advanced than anyone had previously understood. Kara Wren continued her presentation, showing multiple sensor readings, communication fragments, and analysis reports. Each slide revealed more questions than answers. The human fleet wasn't destroyed. It had simply relocated in a way no one could comprehend. "We must approach this with caution," she warned. "Humans have consistently demonstrated an ability to surprise us. This disappearance is not a threat. It's a message." The Stellar Confederation's military advisors began preparing contingency plans. If humans could make an entire fleet vanish, what defensive strategies could possibly counter such a capability? Quantum physicists in the assembly began discussing the potential implications. The ability to simultaneously exist across multiple dimensional planes would represent a technological advancement centuries beyond current understanding. As discussions continued, one thing became clear: the human fleet's disappearance was more than a simple mystery. It was a statement. A demonstration of technological capability that would reshape galactic perceptions forever. The universe had just become a much more complicated place. And humanity was leading the way. Somewhere, Captain June Park and his crew would have been quietly smiling. The communication hub of the Galactic Monitoring Station erupted into chaos when the transmission arrived. It wasn't like any message they had ever received before: fragmented, powerful, and utterly incomprehensible. Analyst Minho Park stood frozen, his hands hovering above the translation systems. The signal burst through multiple encrypted channels, dancing between quantum frequencies that shouldn't even exist. "Captain June Park, USS Horizon," the transmission began, its voice clear yet somehow distant. "We are everywhere and nowhere." Quantum computers across different alien monitoring stations began processing the message simultaneously. Each system interpreted the transmission differently, creating a complex web of potential meanings. The message continued, breaking conventional communication protocols. "Humanity has transcended linear dimensional understanding. We exist beyond your current perception." Alien scientists scrambled to decode the transmission. Some systems translated it as a technological declaration. Others saw it as a philosophical statement. A few quantum analysis programs nearly overloaded trying to comprehend its complex structure. Minho's hands moved rapidly across the console. The transmission wasn't just a message, it was a complex data package containing fragments of scientific information that seemed to challenge everything known about space, time, and dimensional travel. Fragments of advanced mathematical equations danced across the screens. Quantum mechanics formulas that made no sense according to current scientific understanding. Glimpses of technologies that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality. "We are not lost," the transmission continued. "We are exploring realities you cannot yet comprehend." The Galactic Communication Council went into immediate emergency session. Representatives from multiple star systems gathered, their various sensory organs processing the incredible information. Each replay of the transmission revealed something new. It was as if the message was designed to be partially understood, leaving enough mystery to provoke intense curiosity. Minho noticed something peculiar. The transmission wasn't just sending information, it was adapting. Each time it was analyzed, subtle changes appeared. Mathematical equations shifted. Communication frequencies realigned. Humanity's next evolutionary step, the message concluded, begins now. Quantum physicists began arguing about the transmission's implications. Some believed it was proof of advanced dimensional travel. Others saw it as a complex psychological operation designed to confuse and intimidate. The transmission lasted exactly 137 seconds. Then, complete silence. No follow-up messages. No additional information. Just that single, complex burst of communication that seemed to turn everything known about space exploration upside down. Alien civilizations that had been preparing defensive strategies now found themselves completely uncertain. Was this a threat? A declaration of technological superiority? Or something entirely beyond their current understanding? Minho continued analyzing the transmission, knowing he was witnessing something historic. Humanity had just changed the rules of galactic exploration. The message remained, a complex puzzle waiting to be solved. Somewhere, Captain June Park and his crew were continuing their extraordinary journey, existing in realities that most beings couldn't even imagine. The universe had just become much larger. And humanity was leading the way into the unknown. The truth emerged slowly, like a complex puzzle being assembled piece by piece. Humanity's mysterious fleet transformation wasn't a disappearance, it was an evolution. Scientists across multiple alien civilizations began connecting fractured pieces of information. What they discovered was beyond anything they had previously imagined. Captain June Park's fleet had not been destroyed or hidden. They had discovered a method of simultaneous dimensional existence. Each ship could now occupy multiple realities at once, transcending traditional understanding of space and time. The first concrete evidence came from quantum analysis stations. Strange energy signatures began appearing across different dimensional planes. These weren't just random signals, they were coordinated, intelligent movements. Preliminary reports suggested the human fleet could now navigate through dimensional layers that most civilizations didn't even know existed. They weren't traveling in a linear path, they were existing everywhere simultaneously. Alien research teams discovered something even more shocking. The human ships weren't just moving between dimensions. They were collecting information, studying multiple realities at the same instant. Each vessel had become a complex, living research platform. The Galactic Scientific Council organized emergency meetings. Quantum physicists from different star systems shared their findings, each more incredible than the last. Humanity had essentially cracked the code of multidimensional existence. Lieutenant Eun Kim, who had been part of the original mission, was now essentially everywhere and nowhere. Her consciousness, along with her crew, had expanded beyond traditional physical limitations. Mathematical models showed that the human fleet could now exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, collect data across different realities, move between dimensional layers instantaneously, communicate through complex quantum networks. What made this discovery truly revolutionary was its implications. Humanity had not just discovered a new method of travel, they had fundamentally changed the understanding of existence itself. Alien civilizations that had long considered humans a young, somewhat primitive species now realized their complete misunderstanding. Humans weren't just another spacefaring civilization. They were cosmic pioneers pushing the boundaries of reality. The transmission they had sent was a message and a demonstration. "We are everywhere and nowhere" had been more than just a statement. It was a literal description of their new state of being. Diplomatic channels across the galaxy buzzed with speculation and fear. If humans could exist across multiple dimensions, what other capabilities might they possess? The balance of galactic power had just been irreversibly altered. Research teams began studying the limited data they had received. Each analysis revealed more questions than answers. The human fleet had essentially become a living, multidimensional research organism. Captain June Park's original mission had been transformed into something far greater. They were no longer just exploring space, they were exploring the fundamental nature of reality itself. The most advanced alien civilizations realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humanity had just taken a quantum leap in evolutionary understanding that most species might take thousands of years to comprehend. Quantum navigation systems that had tracked the fleet now showed something extraordinary. The ships weren't in one place or even multiple places. They were simultaneously existing across countless realities, collecting information, expanding knowledge. As alien scientists continued their research, one thing became crystal clear: the universe had just become infinitely more complex. And humanity was leading the way into uncharted territories of existence. The fleet wasn't lost. They were exactly where they needed to be. Everywhere. And nowhere.